Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Recovery Classroom. My name is Drew. I am an alcoholic, and today I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I cannot be any more grateful. Speaking of gratitude, I just want to take a minute and thank our friends in the treatment facility that we go and frequent. We visit twice a week on Tuesdays and Saturdays. We went in this last Saturday and had an incredible 2-hour session. It was very powerful, especially for me from an emotional perspective, because my son went in and he shared with the clients what he saw growing up, witnessing his mom and his dad being alcoholics. And so it was just incredibly amazing and insightful. So if our friends in the facility, if you guys are watching this morning on the YouTube channel, thank you for letting us come in and making my son feel so welcome. It meant the world to him, and it meant the world to me. So thank you once again. When I talk to people about their drug or alcohol addiction, I always hear, it's hard for me to believe in God, or it's hard for me to believe in a power greater than myself or a higher power. I had struggled with that myself, but I always ask people why. And typically, the typical response that I generally get back is, well, I can't believe in God because of all the bad things that have happened in the world or happened in my life. And using the word can't in that statement, the word can't implies an inability based upon a set predefined condition of not being able to do something. I can't because of this. What happens if you remove that condition? Matter of fact, what happens if you completely reverse that condition? Try saying this to yourself: I can't believe in God because of all the good things that have happened in my life. Well, it sounds absurd. It sounds illogical, irrational. No one would say that. And change the entire statement itself around. Ask yourself, can I believe in God because of all the good things? Well, if you had to pause and think about that, even if for only a second, if you had to pause and think about that answer, then it is no longer an inability to believe in God, but rather a decision to not believe. It's a choice. It's not that you can't. You won't. You're making a choice. The only inability we have in this regard is our inability to rationalize and logically explain certain events that have taken place. And whenever we can't explain and rationalize these certain events, it's easy for us just to lump it all together and throw it onto a blanket of blame and place that blanket of blame in God's lap. It's like God is the general all-purpose dumping ground for blame. But I digress. So let's say you're like, okay, fine. You know what, Drew? I choose not to believe in God. That's fair. I can work with that. I choose not to believe in God because of all the bad things. Okay, I get it. But is it not possible, even remotely possible, that some of the problems and challenges you're facing today in your life are a direct result of your choice not to believe? Is that even possible? And then let me ask you this. How can you blame something that you choose not to believe in? How is that possible? You can't assign blame without having belief. You can't have blame without having belief, but you can't have belief without having blame. And maybe it comes down to we don't want to believe because we're too obsessed with blaming. Maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe it's a lot easier to blame because in order to we don't have to prove the blame. We just can assign the blame. It's easier to just assign the blame because it's a case we know that will never be proven and will never be adjudicated. Blaming God for all the bad shit that's happened in the world is the equivalent of witnessing a crime but being unable to identify the suspect. You didn't see the suspect. You didn't hear the suspect. Hell, you can't even describe the suspect. You can't even tell what clothing the suspect had on. But, it was that guy. It was that guy right there. Someone you don't even know. It was him. You just automatically place the blame on that guy. Let me ask you this. Have you ever been unjustly accused for anything in your life? You may have. I know I have been in the past. And you work your ass off to clear your name to prove you're innocent. That's essentially what you're trying to do with God. You're blaming him without even knowing him. You're blaming him without even giving him a chance to tell his side of the story. Let's ask this. What if it's not God's fault? What if it's not God's fault at all? Would that mean that we've been wrong? That you've been wrong all along? I know I did. That's exactly where I was at. When I started asking myself these questions and having this internal dialogue with myself, I realized I'd been placing blame on God when he had nothing to do with it. I had been wrong. And I grew to understand the importance that I'd rather be wrong and still have this second chance at life than to be right and still die drunk. With that being said, I'll let you guys go. Thank you guys for letting me come in and share 5 to 10 minutes of your day with you. You guys absolutely keep me sober, and I cannot be any more appreciative. If there's a topic you'd like to hear discussed on these morning monologues, feel free to drop it into an email to me, Drew, D-R-E-W, at recoveryclassroom.org. I'll take a look at it. We'll see what we can do. We'll be talking again soon. Remember, guys, you can't get drunk if you don't take a first drink.